가르쳤다 때는 삽질 로즈나 샘 다투봐준 샘틱 걸려도라.
Ever since patent, so we depend on the technology and this kind of inconvenience and unexpected troubles happens. So sorry, but I appreciate your patience.
다이게 땅 가운데 지금 좀 진행이만 좀 그걸 좀 대김ችን 로즈 조지 아주 참 뭐이지걸 때 내가 참에 내지 좀 나와서 막 능력등 카트 나와서 또 상무등 아주 참아도 요래 대체 아주 참에 내지 초기요 때 내지 때 대화도 좀 때문에 이런 게 대화를 하던 좀 이제 꼴찌 대화 서고 사야 대화 서고래 대화 초당 맛이지 뭐 시기 한 거네 몸병 거네 능을 뭔가 적기요 대체다 아주 생각했더니 능을 망하고 용도와도 생각 상무 당당 건 이제 지당 터와이나 같이 든 세트로 대체다 아주 생각 당도 키워 상무 파쇼드네 선이 좀더 내랑이 이게 용도 송도 합사도 년지 뒤도데 상무 때문에 섬능다 또 수수 하고 송와이나 또 영정 고음지 뒤나 어디 섬들라 일시 당 듣고 일시 당하나 어디 런징 섬들라 일시 동네 섬 정보고 쇼도 니와 토레 송나 때라 때네 소소 리그네 있으면 탐지 쇼 때라 리그 남들이나 지금 정보 밀라 파슨지 터와 되게 당다 시디와 홍도 남들이나 지금 달라 이십당 소파요와 대리 직관에 내랑 기바지 기바네 남민이 뭐 잠들 용도라 디지털 터와 니와지 공고르지 아니 때 맞지 샘 같은 샘 득자가 있으는데 공부 차도 말길 대리 장장 미지스 나가이나 때나 때 리키 남길라 당네 ngọc một giờ là số tiền anh để 뜻으로 통용 니와 그냥 말길 첨부지는 미팅 말길라고 미자 막 통통 지역에 남주도 같이 시작당데 리키 남주 때당데 밀라 참모절로 스포트리 남주도 좀 파쇼들라 지금 등게 정도 나서 파쇼때 막아지는 다차 아니 차도요는 저는 무슨 소가 용 때라 세문랑 마주버지네 아니 가당하러 스포트리 남주 라고 때어서 때라때니 파쇼때 막혀서는 수수 다쳐 시험단 좀 시험하고 있어요. 시험도 시험 같은 데 능글 소소랑은 맞춰진 ዝግ동 남바당 와당 강리 중앙 탐지 잠시와 양정진에 내랑지 탐지 내지 좀진에 내 능을 잡고 대자다 조조 샘데 같이 모르 강리 중앙 내득 초라도 먼저 샘리 정도 요래 샘지한테 소수 샘들도 고정 디당 남바 탐지 아주 남기 인당 치료자다니 자시와 당 잠시와 정말 처음에 요니 남바지 샤르기 올다 모니지나 잠시와 당 자시와 정말 수샘 당나 요 밑에 샘나 시디쇼 지용 근데 조순 첨보 양지 첨보 되는 미 처음에 지 강아지나 코텔라 난가 정보 말 다 밑에 샘나나 배 같은 차도 쉐당 근데 지금 디당 남바 조금 가요 미 파쇼니 간다 지금 남지 때문에 디코나 잠시와 남바 통고를 맞도 때 요거 통고요 말 때 저도 소소랑 아주 인터넷 실로왔다 때 맞지 소소랑 나로 샘라다니 샘가 소소 샘가 나왔더니 샘가 원차대 아주 진짜 공부하고 또 레콩로 나래 때라 네 소소 실리 만다요 때라 아주 나지 다 간로 당게도 샘 자위 샘 차도 자위 샘 디나다네 용모도 샘 샴양지 셰르블라스 샴양지 탑시 탑도 셰르블라스 샘망고도 띠자다 탑시 탑동 셰르 양지라 샤바당 양지라 옹게르 토와 샘드 디원도 종와나 디 랍기에는 링리 있음 그 샤와도 파실로라 근데 랑지 탑지를 기트 거르지 아주 자위 샘기 원찬로도 용모도 샘 그 점송와나 도착동 셰르당 그 점바이나 디 랍기에 링리 있음 동 옹봉 샤와 성마 디쇼라 요르네 아니 데르 그 소라 소소 샘 네트 많이 와서 데 용고래 데차도 소소 디 연드랑 그 샘라랑 그 다시 당하데 같이 모르지
Okay. We don't make an exception, and also a quick reminder: we all have to reinforce our motivation and our purpose of to be here and to forming this kind of a gathering. And we have to understand why we are here and for what particular purpose. Our purpose is clear, of course, and that is we want minimize the suffering and to increasing or the happiness, at least to find or learn a way and to increasing our happiness and to avoid the suffering. And so this is a fairly legitimate reason, and the motivation has no any problem, and everybody is does this sort of a thing, and but when you look in and people and how they do it, then at the technical level or the way they're approaching this very point or this purpose, and due to the misunderstanding or impartial understanding or incomplete understanding or the pure understanding, whatever, and so different methodology and produce the different outcome. And so in many cases, due to the wrong approach, meaning that because the method or the technique they use to reach this goal, and this simple and innate purpose or goal of the life, and they just the opposite. What they and God is just opposite and what they want to, meaning that they will essentially try to be happy or find a way to minimize the suffering or to find a way to increasing their happiness. But the outcome was opposite, and it seems that against what they want to achieve. All this happened is because of due to the ignorance and or misunderstanding and of the technique and the way, the method. And so therefore, we needed to understand why this happened, right? Why it is so. And the Buddhist answer for this question is that obviously is because of we lost those who failed to achieve their goal is because they lost the point, the central point. The central point is the mind, the focus on the mind. Because they didn't understand that the happiness and the way to reduce the suffering and the way to increase the happiness is dependent upon the mind, is related to mind, and because they failed to understand this, so therefore they didn't reach their goal, and even they got something that is opposite. So we are very fortunate at this point. We have the perfect mentor, teacher example, that is Buddha Shakyamuni. And through his life experience, his searching for the happiness and his success and practice to reach this perfect goal, and Buddha set up goal, set up perfect example for us, and so then we can rely on his example and do what the path he showed us, and then we can certainly reach this goal. Meaning that so because Buddha and he find the way to free the suffering is has to be started with the transformation of the mind, and the way to increasing the happiness also has to be started from the transformation of the one's mental attitude or mind, meaning that to reducing the influence of the negativity and the negative mind, and that is the way into reducing the suffering and causes of suffering. And the way to increase the suffering, increasing this happiness is to cultivating the virtuous quality and of the mind, the level where you increase you progressed, you increased the strength or the power of your positive attitude, and then and that much higher, and the mental the happiness and the mental peace you can achieve. This is quite clear if we look and study the Buddha's enlightened experience. And also our experience, and also, we have enough experience can tell us that if you have that, keep the good attitude, be open-minded, and sort of have the open mind and ready to and serve others, and be kind and nice and compassionate, then our body somehow sort of channeling us. So navigating us to that kind of direction, and at our physical level, physical body level, we somehow sign a kind of sign the signal, and or sign out some kind of a physical the signal to others, and make it others kind of at a very physical appearance level sort of acceptable, and feels that something is really comfortable with. And at the same time, because of this warm and gentle kindness and compassionate driven mind attitude, we sort of rely on it, and we depend upon it. And at the verbal level, similarly, and we just naturally sort of this mind driven our the use of the communication, the language, and is naturally become gentle, naturally become something is welcomed. So and then of course because you hold this a very positive mental attitude, and you try to increasing it, and then your mind is at mental level, you become much peaceful, and more sort of become much more insightful, and then this transforms the whole your body, and bodily behavior, verbal behavior, and mental behavior. So all this happened is because we adopted the positive attitude, and we by increasing or focus on the positive qualities internally by increasing it. And so our perfect example is Buddha, and as I said before, and we can do this by comparison, and so if we compare and with for some the negative quality, and something that's negative from an opposite point of view, for example, and if you are someone who doesn't believe in this kind of positive, the qualities of positive attitude, and the influence of the negative, influence of the positive attitude, and the outcome of the positive quality attitude, then look at this thing. For example, like think about the arrogance, right, and self-pride, arrogance. So don't you think that because anyone from your own experience and others particularly, and whoever have so proud of themselves and being very arrogant, and you just feel that and that person somehow is not acceptable, and you yourself often and probably notice that when you are very arrogant and proud and self proud too much, and then so make the other people feel that when you are very rejectable, they not welcome you, and they find that you sort of have no much space within their life or for them. So then you are immediately will be pushed away. Similarly, and one of another negative mental attitude that is jealousy, and you yourself know when you experience jealousy, and so become so jealous about somebody's positive achievement and good fortunes and accomplishment and so on and so forth. You feel yourself inside feel just restless, feels unacceptable, and then immediately has no any peace there, right, within you. At the same time, then your jealousy is revealed at the physical level and then transformed into the verbal level, and you would say something in a very judgmental and negative and even criticize or even kind of laugh at or make fun of others instead of rejoice and praise others' success. You might find some kind of problems and then with that person, of course, and that causes the result is that the person find you are such a narrow-minded individual, and then they will damage your relationship. And or if a stranger and you are immediately pushed away because you make them feel has no space for them. And then another very big negative mental attitude that we all know is anger or aversion. And whenever you experience the anger or hateful, become hateful and aversion, and we know that that sense of harming or sense of destroying, a sense of damaging and or destroy others, it just makes us self is very hard and become very destructive. At the same time, and so this anger or this hatred and negative attitude and send a signal and send a message at both at the verbal and the bodily level into others and make others and feels and with something that's very serious and something that's very unpleasant and destructive. And obviously, and then they want to be, they do not want to be with you, and you are, because you make them feel the space has become very limited, and you are not acceptable for their in their life or for them. So this kind of comparison and clearly and indicates that increasing the inner virtuous quality and positive quality is the way to achieve our fundamental goal, and to reducing our negative mind and negativities. Negative attitude indeed is the essential or fundamental way to reducing our suffering and the causes of suffering. So generally, we say that happiness seems kind of related to the external conditions, particularly material, very much sort of a materialistic thing, or is it depend upon the factor and the materialistically. We do not truly believe that something is within the mind, or rely on and depend on the mind. We often think that any tumor or disturbance, any pleasant experience occur, and that's because of something wrong with the external, externally or the materialistically. But if you look at this from a very subtle point of view, from a kind of as an essential causal perspective, you will see, and in fact is not the case. Our mind, we have a mind, and we have from Buddhist point of view, we have 5 different consciousness, right? And their functions different, like different 5 different office or 5 different departments, and each of them have their own unique functions and unique and a job duties they're performing and in all the time. And and those 5 departments and whatever they did, so essentially it's from a central and the headquarters, the most important one, that is the mind, the conscious, the mental conscious, the mental conscious. So mental conscious is the decision maker, and from there all others are functioning. And so therefore, if we understand that how to increasing and how to increasing the positivities of this central the commander as a headquarter and the mental consciousness, and let the mental consciousness always performing its job and based upon the Buddhist principle, that is the compassion as the method or the skillful means, and the wisdom as the view. So with the view of the wisdom and combined with the skillful means, the compassion as a skillful means, and let this commander and the headquarter of the mental consciousness and decide and then motivate us doing all the thing, and then we will let the rest of the 5 departments or the office will perform the same reflecting upon or exercise exactly what they received the order from this headquarters, the mental the consciousness. So yes, and in one word that. Our purpose is that to come in and get the gathering here to understand the causes of the suffering in a very simple level. That is the 3 poisons. Okay, that meaning that ignorance, aversion, and attachment. And so we needed to understand, identifying in them and to reducing and eventually vanish them. At the same time, our goal, our task is to recognize and the positivities of our mind and to increasing them and to expanding them, develop them to its infinite level.
다 대량도 삽지지나 전부 삽지세다 타와첨으로 지비고 삽지세다 해도 다 대량 시험 거지. 일단 남바상지와 지비고 장로세고라. 산 남바상지 지비고 장로지 장로도 간다 지기라 깨고래. 장로 모두 간다 랑니 파벌 지바동 들리기비와 일리송을 다바인지 고당고 진입 성공을 잡선도와 잡선도사데 가르조 공조선나 잡서 성기 지겐데 공조선나 잡서 가르치는 공조선나 잡선도 그래서 잡선도에 대 임슨 소소고 능력직 통용된 능력들이 탈도 타와 요바직 미스 년진 토바지니 이 이치가 다바지니 때 강내 토바지 공조선나 때니 토고요자 때 소소선나 이치 강내 다바가 남내 다당하고 원토기 다바데 오 때때리스 선점들 그런 것들이 남들이 양선은 근데 똑바지라 토샤 토바도 소소한 거에 도종질이 용화 토용을 수도 어떤 하나 토부군도 때자다가 성지 공조가 잡수송에 근데 지 공조 그 연대 등에 gelaki nga gende ko ngo pa rebechne lamti ba ngor zo sangi ko de samlo de bo te kyola tangbo ta ma to ma zo ra montel chini ta sangi chom de japsu chi de pe chum bar de china lamson de chi lo ya ba dang ji ho ta la chi 상로 때문에 용거 말 sangi chom de 그런 거 송어요 틈에 르바 치 강거 섬제 담질 양지 매바 말 양지 오래 양나 양지 오다 섬진 로아가 레 남나 좀 소소 레 소소 용어에 장이 결혼도 리기 능을때 락박 말렌 두고 말에 책 치트 말이 나 가르치는 등이 로지 그래 치트 그래지나 친기 때마다 비 로지 등이 결혼아 말은 그 냠용부터는 접이 연든지 니 요래 연든지 결혼 마셔 요래 셰때 때를 결혼 거 도중치는 시간이나 그런 게 있을 때 빙이 공통돼 톱거다 선진도 송으로 봐도 개가 시작하는 답을 게 또 남선 큐티 파트 마스터마도 근데 송요 말 된자다 가지고 참 캔고 캔바 다바제 몽들지요 몽들지는 점지 전부 요 말이나 기타 몽들지나 한주 연구자다 지다지데 지금 남선 신기라고 지금 저렇게 삼때는 맞음 장기 좀더 되지 종아래 종아들라 띠 가르가르 호가르 바로 가르서 띠 남들 수 정화진이 띠 섬나 차동 샤르지 샤르위 돈데 럼비 삼노 동네 띠 송세 띠 띠 어르비 sorta지나 수도 용화 토나다 때문에 원바이나 소소랑 그 아주 샘기랑 좀 어싸와 그만은 로르즈 나도 랑진기 나로 샘 랑진기 샘기 상기기 니와 등하고 요르서 상기 되어자네 저르비 장화이나 때 견기 차다 무슨이 견기 차다 원디 get고요 등하고 상기 다다 지금 원심도 내려가서 시트고요 마우성 소교샤터 원심도 다당하고 시와 기와의 정도 로컬 도중지나 탈신이 시온도 토피 근데 공통 교과가 아주 통구도 왔다 산다 프로그레스 직세 정말 정리 토어를 맡고 당보샤이 기에서도 요마로 그 삼노티야 공패손이 때리 토어를 맡고 당보님 토요 맡대 자다 그 켐바지네 때리 장고 장에는 강화 장고 선이 좀 된데 지스당네 장네 선이 좀 된데 그 선이 공쪽도 옌 잡성 디기기 용데 치공쪽 잡성 어때 때도 다도 때다다 선기네 눈이 동합전에 단다워도 마트리 용도日本因老蒙古因为这里因蒙古这里往这对跟着过中西中的我第一次当的当啊马上用的叫做七因子我上次得去过的那得讲着用到的是讲着用到的大把的当过几年成过的就当过的嘛就想长把的口味的门都把呢米他的领的了这的没把希望当把人把希望给这把남친이没把安的这个가서 막 모두都说嘛어주 상대고 당진에 이제로 장로 지금 잡고 계속나 되니 들리니 탈 프로알레 탈와지고 봐 삼노 코나 되니 탈도 놓게나 되 인종 제가 계속 와이나 딱 타바체 뭐 넘버선 이외에 지금 남기 된 무슨 말이에요.
Okay. So according to our text and today we're supposed to talk about the cultivation of the conventional awakening mind, but I see the importance of something more fundamental prior to this very crucial point. And let me take a moment and just refresh or reviewing what we have studied before, and that is the importance of the development, the mind of refuge, or the mind of seeking the protection from the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. In Tibetan, we call the Jambro, meaning the seeking for refuge. So seeking for refuge is essential, and it's the entrance or the first step, and every single Buddhist has to take, or the seekers of enlightenment has to take. That is because, first of all, if you have this attitude and been developed, then you will get nowhere. And also, you will make it no further goal and purpose. And so, therefore, and seeking refuge is the first thing we need to develop. So then, let's review it and how we can have this develop a genuine seeking refuge or the mind of a refugee to be developed, how we can do it. And there are two causes. Okay? The causes of this genuine, authentic refugee mind and has two causes. The first is the fear of the samsaric suffering, or to clearly see or realizing the realization of samsaric suffering, and that is the first cause. The clear realization of samsaric suffering. and that is the first cause. And second is upon to seeing this the samsaric suffering, and develop the mind of seeking for the liberation. Okay, and develop the mind of seeking for liberation, free from this suffering. That is the second cause of the genuine, authentic refuge mind. So here in our case, that first of all, as we talked about this a long time ago, many times and repeatedly, and our understanding of our own condition is that first of all, we are our very reality on earth here is part of a samsaric reality. It's samsara, meaning that we are tied up or bonded and on, and the wheel of the repeated pattern of rebirth, death, and birth, death, and rebirth. And of course, we have to go through the process of death, the birth, and the aging, illness, and death, and so on and so forth. The separations, right? And all kinds of uncertainties, right? And all kinds of separations, and you name it. So all kinds of sufferings, and that's essentially one after another. So that's our samsaric reality. So we need to clearly reflecting upon this reality and understand, and this is our condition, and then by fully realize this, and then develop the mind, a strong mind, that is, you want to separate it, you want to get rid of it, and you do not want to continue and experience this kind of, go through this, the endless and the pointless the circle of the suffering. And so this seeking for the determined to free from such a will and this a miserable circle, and then that is the mind of seeking for the liberation. So once these two and then developed, born in your mind, then next is, as I said, in our case is that among all the possibilities, potentials, and options, we find that the Buddha is the excellent teacher, and his teaching is the path he showed us. His teaching is the excellent teaching, and then his Sangha, the community which are preserving and transforming, transmitting his teaching, and is the excellent community. So then, instead of turn to any other spiritual order or seeking and the different path or means, and we as a Buddhist, and we're going to take the refuge in Buddha and his teaching Dharma and his community Sangha. So that's this is a refuge mind, and again, this is seeking the refuge and in Buddha, by taking Buddha as our excellent teacher, and taking Buddha Dharma as our excellent path, and taking the Sangha as our excellent spiritual friends and the community or helper, and so then once we turn, having this in our mind, and that is that you develop the seeking refuge in you accomplish the development of seeking refuge practice in Buddhism. So this seeking refuge mind, seeking refuge, or the develop the mind that is seeking for the protections, again, is the result of the two causes. The causes of the clear understanding or realization of the samsaric suffering, and then a strong development of the determination or the mind and seeking for the liberation. So you had these two causes been and fully sort of present, and then you turned it yourself to the Buddha and asking him to help you to free from all kinds of sufferings that we have talked about before, and then you turned to his teaching. The view or consider it as the treatment, or it is a path, it is the method to help you to achieve your goal. At the same time, and you appreciate his Sangha community, and is the excellent resource, and a place for you to turn in. And to perfect your path to the liberation. So, and then this is in other words, this refuge mind is a faith, right? The refuge mind essentially has to depend on the faith, but this faith is not a blind faith. This faith is based on the clear reason, like we talked about before. Remember this, first of all, you based on apply your experience, your life experience, to sort of go through and all kinds of the life experiences, and then you had so far, right? And realize that there are really a tremendous amount of sufferings there, and then the suffering will be inevitably and will increasing if you do nothing, if you do not do anything about it. And so this is a clear, based on this clear understanding, and you develop the mind, you want to free from such a condition, such a miserable samsaric reality. So see, this clear understanding, right, and made you determined to depend upon Buddha and his teaching and his spiritual order, is this mental strength or this mental inspiration, and is a faith. So it's essentially faith, but this faith is not blind. It's not something that's like you go to the temple, you burn the incense, and so you bow down and say, please and bless me or help me, and it kind of just expresses some kind of a trust and some sense of asking for or request for help, but then you turn away. No, it's not like that. So you do so, and right, and you decide depend on the Buddha and Dharma and the Sangha is based on the clear understanding that the Buddha do have the quality, right, and do have the ability, and Buddha has the quality, and his teaching has this ability, and his Sangha and the richer resource, and also and can provide his qualities, and it can offer the all kind of means and to increase in your ability to achieve your goal. So see the qualities, right? And then have a place faith in that very quality, and that is the faith, but it is not a blind one, and it is the based on clear understanding. So we have to think this way, and let all this the understanding appear in our mind clearly, and so clearly, and so direct our senses and our mental attitude, and then again get familiar with this kind of attitude, and then perfect is kind of a mental and attitude. And then so we will have the hope to and achieve our essential goal, and that is we see the suffering. We have clear realization about the samsaric misery. That's our current condition, and we also have the aspiration and want to free ourselves from the suffering. So we can achieve this our goal. And the fundamentally, essentially that, and from Buddhist point of view, we can achieve this goal no matter what. It's because the basic nature of our mind is translucent and luminous and is enlightened. Okay? So all we need to do is to sort of dispel and remove the influence of the negativities and the ignorance and the dark the darkness of our mental darkness. So yes, so at this point, refugee mind is and to develop the seeking for refuge mind. Develop the refugee mind and seeking for refuge in Buddha Dharma has to be based on the true reason, and meaning that we have to see that the Buddha as example, and then he's our mentor, and he is the perfect example, and his teaching the Dharma is the method, is the path, and his Sangha, the spiritual community, is a rich resource, is the right place to rely on, to depend on. And indeed, this has been taking place, and we been tasted in the last 2,500 years. So, in conclusion, and let me just tell you that refugee mind has two. Refugee mind is essential, but the refugee mind has two causes, and involving two causes. One cause is the clear realization of samsaric suffering, and the aspiration and want to free from the such samsaric miseries. Hello. Yes, so I forgot one point, and Geshe-la just reminded me. The way we go seeking for the refuge from Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, particularly Buddha, we have to know and remember that Buddha repeatedly warned us, his followers, that and the way we achieve our goal is not anything else, but to focus on his quality and imitating him, and meaning to practice, apply, and all the teachings that he taught us, but not treat him like some kind of a supernatural being, or as someone who has the absolute controlling power and to determining and your own individual the fate, okay, and or the individual your fate. No. And the Buddha said this is because the Buddha repeatedly said in the sutra, I cannot take your suffering with my own hands from your mental continuity, and I cannot free your suffering, free you from the causes of suffering, and that is yes, from your mental continuation, and I also cannot wash out and the the suffering and the causes of the suffering, and with the water meaning that the ritual through the ritual by the ritual and performing the ritual like ablation and to free you. But the only way, and I can help you to free from the suffering and the cause of suffering, is to by pointing you, help you to follow the path that clearly leads you to the ultimate nature of reality.
어때? 아, 또 제가 된 검정이 지구라. 대랑 검정 리가 있을 때 검자인데 그 검자서 대통령 총수랑은 검단다 배치지 있더니 파 장수 선결 소금나 뜨거운 그리나 따때 검 사원 스피청 대서 무길로 면지나 방금 리 차장 설마 샤라지 근데 리델한테 게드가래 모르지나 리델한테 내 소라용 그러가지고 리델한테 내 그 소라용 그러가지고 셈나 nga sachimudu nga sachimudu nga semna yid lead tang에 다사인 samsam으로 드지요 lead nga이 samg요 말다요 lead 니 캄바로 다사팅 일린 sam고 단 대처다 랭킨테 다 자리소 남시 이미조서라 포르 nga라
It's 11 o'clock.
다 남시 메바 대 자리소 남시 데 간다데 자리소나 남시 때 따라야 가고 차오라 된다 때 켜버들 때 리드 여고 sam로 땅에 nga se mga dasagir khambar lot kan rajit te ho samtan li delatene ged karyam gore na ta li delatene dikpayong socho pa ma sembro ma songcho pa ta lopri balas pa tinchina dikpayong gore delatene dingeng gore te chambachi to songa na delatene gewad na delatene dewayong gore o te chachine te chine ne li sawo chito li delatene de ku chora de ho chi ne soso ngani li delatene socho pa ta ma sembro le pa ta lopri balas pa tinchina 샤옹 바치존나 텔라테니 드우딩이요 등을 텔라테니 조숨치니 보험치니 에너지 사발라 소바테니가 텔란 요셔지알 소바테니 제니 어다테 텐디 존나 흥이 동안 한번 놓지 말이 병 마시기 텐디 좀 왔다 지만 텐디 지금에 스타트 지존나 득발은 요셔지나 상타고 되는 좀 어떻게 뒤지고데 나가 사는 동생 링가 나세 잔소 링을 쓰는지나 자라사요 말 nga samlo to nga te kan ji nga te cheta ani u jwala te ni sem ko long chi mon de jwala te ni long jwa te ni nga chi ta ken da byong so da jung ra da te la te ni ani da chi psu zo jan la chi tong la so be da jung go re ani chi ma pa la so be da jung go te la te ni nga la te ni ka re go za zin chi chama chi tsi chi nga chi chi de jo te nga la te ni jung go zin se de so so gi chi to no jan ba chi go ko chi mi la go ko ta ga te 측근간에 목을다는 미차 중대 목을다는 지시하러 또 용장으로 왔다 참아서 미 통보 이유는 뒤바로라 즉성자들 즉 파송들이 시행도 수송들 시행도 파파트서 전에 이 바로 만든 버저한테 참아래 등올랐더니 측습세 때다 아주 즉 파송라 라인 지금 냠보면 샘나 강지지 담시오까지 시대 즉 된지셔도 측습들 컨트롤왕 조몽적 컨트롤왕 딱 마치세 도덕 좀 묘, dim치면은 밀러지 약내 가당 내 뜻도 마치 또 참아 놀라테 비디바 정도 근데 정말 소소 때라 삼도 나세데 되게 가는 dingen 나세데 되게 되게 너무 간데 빨리 좀 때때니 되게 지금 다 정보를 끌롱 때라 되게 다 때라 때니 때원 좀다 득바 정말 아주 득바 되는 정보를 세대 아주 싸우는 요구 동남도 또 하고 이런 때라 미치라 그런 같이 늦자셔나 또 그런 암비칸이 랑 드라다 비 드라트 슬로토나 파쇼티 안조 거나 파쇼테 맞죠는 드라치기 드라트 년지 미치라 같이 정보도 년보셔나 때때는 파쇼테 설명 서로 대화치고 때때는 년착요 때때는 안 되지 막 비와 염친지 요다 또 삼도 등이 막가 때라 때는 득바 정도 득바 정말 파 잠시만요 지지조는 나가라 때는 여기와 저대 사고나 telha susu shagdam chi joba chi tada ha ta ta magiwa re to ten ngon chung ngarong la chi bumya jamba la chi bumya ten ji yong duwa te jimani ten chi gimna asani ka chena gyosum to shagdam chi thwa na telha ten dik patam ru nge yong mare jimma ten dik tam shi sha ma ka ru o te ni sam no ta te ling na sam sam no chan te na ta ta pa tim di jima yar bu chi ge za ni mi ni man da ta 특별히 지도서 말라. 근데 다 지마 파티 로스 키고 되나다 뒤지고 되라 아주까지 초고나 등이 보랑다 랭자고 지내 가지고 아니 이 바로 동박강에 왔대 곰 뒤쪽강은 대고 수수 리는 이거 되가나 지금 대사모 당에 때때 지금 때 용탕 사모 있고 당다 리 등막세 되가는 때 사모 당 때 십도 지난 아주 시탐지 된바 니즈 시고 닐링 모마테 이게 듣고 말 아주 치 닐링 모마테 간다 짠 손을 빼 당서 서비원이 파 열로 딱 맞아 군주비 닐 때다 맞아 지 다분 잡고 다 잡고 때라 지선은 그런 때 지금 사모 당에 당시라 뭔가 돼 있어
你动这股都跟着他们也是呢。
다 파지 타만 이제 때나 지마자니마테 그 수면 약간 백시가 아주 된자고 싶어 좀.
알았어.
어떤 파주는다
예.
동 키도가 다 파지 초기 말고 한 가지고 초 마트가는 된다 뭐다 된다고.
That's all. Okay. Let me do the translation, the order a little bit reverse. First of all, announcement, a quick announcement. It looks like today is the last class of in the 2019. Because next week, Sunday, we're going to have a functions and with Venerable Lama Minyo Rinpoche, and here with his present, and then we have our activities. Then the following week, and then we know the holiday with the status. So unless otherwise, I will inform you and separately, and then this is the last class in for this year. And it's just again keep checking your the email, and we will send you the announcement if there anything changes or doesn't match what I have said. Now let's do the meditation. So for today's meditation, I would suggest that for those of you have some kind of personal preference, and then go on and do your own favorite meditation and practice. Take this time and do whatever you feel you want, the most important appealing, and then so practice your meditation as you like. And then for those of you want to try something new, or you have no any personal preference, then I like to encourage you, maybe you can think about the importance of the process, and the process of the refuge mind. Meaning that meditate on the refuge mind, like the way we described before, like from the understanding of the two causes, and then the nature of that seeking the refuge mind, and so meditate on that. And then for those of you and wanted to do the following meditation, I like it to share this idea with you. Maybe you can try to meditate on the mindfulness of the mind, the body, and the speech. So mindfulness of the body and mind meditation, and has a following involved the following reflection, a reflective mental process. First of all, take a clearly internal looking, see how your mind is. What is your mind? I'm sorry. What is your body? So your body essentially is the entity, and depend upon that, and you experience the feelings of pleasantness and feelings of pain and feelings of neutral. So that's your body, and is the entity from which, and you experience this three different feelings or senses. In fact, a lot of us, even though ourself is not our body, you may not always think you are your body, but you definitely were thinking you are. Your body is the house of you. So you are the dwellers of a house. And so then if that's the case, and then looking into this, since this is probably is your conception and your understanding the relationship between you and your body, and I'd like you to examine and see whether that house or the place where you call the body or you think you are dwelling, and what it looks like, and how it is been sort of structured and or build up. And looking exam and step by step, and to understand the inwardly, externally, and so all around, and just try to understand your sense of body and your own house, if that's the case. And then look at that how your body can do, what your body could do or may do. That your body, and from a negative point of view, so your body could commit to three serious negative karma. That is, in the worst case scenario, could be killing and engaging in sexual misconduct. And your body also can do the stealing, and so the negative karma actions such as stealing. And so look at this, your body could do it. And then try to remember, have you ever done such a thing? And if you did, or remembered, and most likely, whatever, and so then have develop the sense of repentance and regret, and towards those three bodily negative action, and then reinforce and ensure yourself that you would not do that thing again. And then turn into your attention to the verbal. So, and then see the mindfulness, the practice, the mindfulness of the speech. Mindfulness of the speech, and then here is that what is a speech, right? Speech is the language, is the sound, is kind of a voice. This voice or sound is actually essentially also attached to the motivation, the mental, is something connected with the mind. But at the functional level, it is the sound, is the voice. That the voice is it's a kind of lead by or steering by, turning by the forces of the wind, and then hit this the roof of to the town, and the roof of your mouth, and then produce this a particular sort of some kind of data, and then they become a meaningful sound, and then convey a particular set of message and or information, and through your mouth, and pass to others, or make others to hear. And so that is basically is the speech. But this speech, and also, and from a negative action point of view, and could take you to commit to 4 different kind of negative karma. Commit to negative karma. That is, first of all, it could commit to negative karma such as liar, and then the liar, and divisive speech, and then harsh words, and the meaningless speech, or meaningless talk. And so those 4 negative karma, and your the verb at the speech level, you could commit it. And then reflect upon and try to remember, see, have you ever done such a thing, or through the verbal, by speech, the functions, through the functionalities of the speech, you have ever committed those 4 negative comma. If you have ever done, you can recall it and try to regret and then make a mind and determining that you do not want to do those things again. And so so those are the 4 levels of the negativities. And while you meditate on the mindfulness of the speech, and that's what you should do. So. 大概这个大把你老实话，大概都没有过，都带着让送。Yes, so by protect yourself from those 3 bodily negative karma, and then whatever you do at your body level, that's the virtuous karma. So you're doing you're increasing your positive karma. And if you fail to protect your body from those 3 bodily negative actions, and then you are committing the negative karma. That's clear. And so, make it clear in your mind. At the same time, by protecting yourself from those 4 verbal negative karma, you are increasing your positive karma at the speech level. And so just think about that and meditate on that according to these points. Two things before you start today's meditation. Remember, whenever you forgot what you're supposed to focus on, meditate on, then you are not meditating. Okay, your meditation is broken. You fail. And secondly, if you are thinking, if you've been distracted and you are focused on something else and busy with some other things, again, and your meditation is a fail, and you are not meditating. So we meditate for 10 minutes.